cooking at 4 a.m., my mother-in-law ordered, handing me the guest list. And make sure everything is perfect this time, my husband added. I smiled and said, of course. But at 3 a.m., I was at the airport instead. For 5 years, I'd been the perfect daughter-in-law. I cooked elaborate holiday meals, hosted family gatherings, and never complained when my husband Hudson's mother, Vivian, turned every celebration into a performance I was expected to orchestrate alone. This year, Vivian handed me a guest list 3 days before Thanksgiving. 32 people. She'd upgraded the menu too. 3 different stuffings, 7 side dishes, 4 desserts, all from scratch. When I mentioned it seemed like a lot for one person, she waved her hand dismissively. Nonsense. You're perfectly capable. Besides, Hudson will help. Hudson's idea of help was carving the turkey and opening wine bottles. Maybe an hour of work total while I handled 37 hours of preparation. The breaking point came when Vivian called at 3 a.m. the night before, worried I might not properly handle a guest's severe nut allergy she'd forgotten to mention until then. 3 of my prepared dishes contained nuts. I'd have to remake everything. Start cooking at 4 a.m., she'd instructed. Maybe 3:30 if you want everything perfect. But something had shifted inside me. I'd spent 2 days in preparation hell while Hudson played golf. I'd asked him for help and he'd told me I was so much better at cooking than he was. I'd mentioned feeling overwhelmed and he'd assured me I'd pull it off like always. That night, I sat at my kitchen table staring at the guest list. 32 names. Mine wasn't on it. I was cooking for 32 people and wasn't even considered a guest. That's when I noticed Hudson's cousin Ruby wasn't listed either. I called her and discovered Vivian had uninvited her after her divorce, saying she'd be more comfortable elsewhere since she was going through such a difficult time. Ruby had been family for 8 years, but the moment she needed support instead of providing entertainment value, Vivian cut her loose. I saw my own future in that moment, one bad Thanksgiving away from being discarded myself. On impulse, I opened a travel website. The first result made my heart race. Last minute Thanksgiving getaway to Hawaii. Flight departs 4:15 a.m. Exactly when I was supposed to start cooking. I booked it before I could change my mind. 1 ticket, just for me. For the first time in 5 years, I was going somewhere Hudson hadn't approved of, somewhere Vivian hadn't vetted, somewhere I'd chosen entirely for myself. I packed a small suitcase with sundresses Hudson always said were too casual. I left a note on the kitchen counter next to Vivian's guest list. Hudson, something came up and I had to leave town. You'll need to handle Thanksgiving dinner. The groceries are in the fridge. Isabella, I didn't apologize. I didn't explain. I didn't offer instructions. For once, I simply stated facts and left them to figure out the rest. At the airport, the gate agent looked at my ticket and smiled. Maui, nice. Getting away from the family chaos? Something like that. As the plane lifted off, I pressed my face to the window and watched my old life disappear below the clouds. Somewhere down there, Hudson would wake up to an empty kitchen and 32 people expecting a feast. Somewhere, Vivian would arrive to chaos instead of perfection, and I would be in paradise, finally putting myself first. 3 days later, I sent Hudson a photo from a beachside restaurant. Me in a yellow sundress with a tropical drink, the ocean behind me, genuine happiness on my face. The caption read, Thanksgiving dinner in paradise. Tell Vivian the turkey is her problem now. The response was immediate. 17 missed calls. Dozens of texts ranging from panic to anger to confusion. But the most telling message came from Hudson's sister. Good for her. Maybe now they'll realize what they've been taking for granted. When I returned home Sunday, Hudson was waiting at baggage claim looking like he hadn't slept in days. How was your trip? He asked weakly. Exactly what I needed. The conversation that followed changed everything. Hudson had spent Thanksgiving Day frantically calling restaurants, watching his mother have a breakdown in our kitchen, and explaining to 32 confused relatives why there was no dinner. For the first time in our marriage, he'd had to handle what I'd been handling alone for years. I didn't know it was that much work, he admitted. You never asked. It took months of difficult conversations, therapy, and boundary setting. Vivian initially called me ungrateful and selfish. Some relatives stopped speaking to us, but Hudson finally stood up to his mother, choosing our marriage over her expectations. This year, we hosted 8 people for Thanksgiving. Everyone contributed dishes. We ate at 2 p.m., relaxed and happy. The cleanup took 30 minutes because everyone helped. Vivian spent her Thanksgiving at the country club with hired caterers, still convinced our scaled-back celebration was disappointing.